Welcome to this session presented by the Class of 1968. We are here, as probably many of you already know, for our 50th meeting. We really wanted you to hear some of our stories, and so I created this program, and we're here to do so. I want to give you a sneak peek at what we'll be carrying in the parade tomorrow. This is a gift from me to my class. It's a banner. I don't know, our banner was stolen years ago.
Going by the hours.
I don't know for sure. We searched for it. But anyway, we needed something new and distinguished, I thought. So I have this designed, and I have several important pieces of information here. That we are the class of 1968, that we are graduates of Wells College, and that we are the centennial class.
And weren't we also the Wonder Class?
Oh, I forgot to put that on there. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Or we can have another
I haven't asked for it.
Anyway, we'll see you again tomorrow. Right? Sneak preview.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce the moderator of our panel, Rita Hirschman, who is my co-chair for this class meeting. She and I and we hope that those of you who are in 1968 are enjoying yourselves so far.
Yes.
Keep at it the rest of the Rita, will you introduce it?
I will introduce Alice, and I'm going to do it. That's 21st century way. Is this one more?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is going to be an exercise in coordination because I have the introductions on my phone and the microphone here. So first we have, let me do this. Okay, Shelley Osmond Baranowski. Say what? Mouthful. Shelley Mouthful Baranowski. For most of her career was a professor of history at the University of Akron in Ohio, specialty in modern Germany and modern Europe. Next we have, I had no way of printing these out, so that's my, okay. Next, we have Leslie Burkett Jacobs, not quite as much of a mouthful. From the outside, Leslie says about herself, Leslie looks quite presentable, stylish.
Show your purse.
She has had academic success, professional success. She is also a doting wife. Would you demonstrate doting? No, okay. Wife, mom, grandma, and friend. And although she always says to herself, low profile, all the while telling others, don't hide your life under a bushel, she has had mixed success. You're welcome. She is a... And I was just getting good, right? Hold on. We're getting back. We haven't forgotten the rest of Leslie. Where's the rest of Leslie? She's here. She's here. She's here someplace.
She is here.
I know. I know.
Why don't you hold the mic? I'll hold the mic.
I'm holding the mic. Shelley. It did disappear. Would you like editing?
She's trying her light on her
Very low. I don't know what happened. We're going to go on to the other introductions, and then I will find Leslie again and come back. Bobby printed hers out, which is making my life a lot easier. In fall of 1967, Bobby Max Vitas, Bobby's brother, 19-year-old Steve, also known as Buzz, contracted mononucleosis and had to leave the University of Pittsburgh for a semester in order to recuperate. 3 days before he was due to return to college, Buzz received his draft notice. These are excerpts. She will be reading excerpts from some of the letters he wrote to his big sister and his family during his basic training, and active duty in Vietnam. Carol Wetzel Wilkinson, my devoted co-chair for many years.
At least 25.
At least 25. Carol Wetzel Wilkinson is a library director at West Virginia University. She is an arthritis activist, a feminist, a grandmother of 3, a Loyal Wells alum, a textile and jewelry lover, and, very important, having that personal experience, a good cook. She designed this program to give Reunion 2018 attendees a chance to hear some of the voices of the wise and accomplished women of the Wells class of 1968 who are on campus for their, yes, 50th reunion. And let's see, Wendy, last but certainly not least, here we go. After graduating from Wells, Wendy attended grad school at the University of Aberdeen and earned a Master of Letters in British History. She had a 35-year career teaching history and television production at Lexington High School in Massachusetts and history at Northwestern University. Northeastern, sorry. Yes. She worked in video and as a teleteacher on Satellite Learning Corporation and taught graduate classes in integrating education and video technology. And I'm going to have one more effort to look for Leslie's.
Better be good at this.
Leslie, you want to say a few additional words about yourself? Because this is just all five. And
You were a lawyer. She's a judge. No. Married. I could never.
And just to add to the spirit of the occasion, I mean, you can read this from your distance, but.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
That's for me to know. Leslie, I'm sure it'll show up.
In 5 more years.
5 more years. So we're going to get started. My role is to listen, maybe ask a few questions, but mostly my role is to bring forth a conversation from all the rest of you after our panelists disclosure, and also to time them so we have enough time. And Shelley is going to go first.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I want to pull this up thanks to Andy Lamoureux. This past weekend's Chicago Tribune, the Sunday edition of 1968 in big bold letters. And the question that automatically arises, what's so important about this particular year? It's not obviously just because we graduated. What I'm going to do is a very, very brief overview of 1968, why it is significant, and start with general political, and then move to the specific, bring it back to Wells, so I can provide a context for everybody who follows. Okay. First of all, 1968, from the perspective of historians, is significant, but sometimes it's used interchangeably with the term global 60s because the student protests of that year were genuinely global, cutting across the capital's west, the Soviet bloc countries, in Africa, in the Middle East, Australia, virtually throughout the globe. Much of this was influenced by the mass media, television, and so forth, that allowed the exchange of ideas and protests across national boundaries. When we were graduating that spring, we were seeing the beginnings of events such as the Prague Spring in Czechoslovakia and the days in Paris being a kind of historical of historical importance because of the revolutions of 1789, 1830, 1848, and 1871, Paris comes to you. So this was truly a global event. The context, to give you a little bit about the broader context, the first was perhaps obvious, the post-war baby boom that was enabled by the end of two devastating world wars of the 20th century, and especially in the Western countries, the rapid expansion of higher education because of the changing needs of job markets for more highly educated workers. So there were an awful lot of students and a lot of new universities. The precursors were several. First, the ban the bomb movement in the 1950s, the emergence of second-wave feminism, the civil rights movement in particular, but also the anti-colonial movement globally, which basically totally, once and for all, submerged the European empires that had been dominant really for several centuries. And then finally the civil rights movement, and in many ways the civil rights movement and the anti-colonial movement overlapped. Martin Luther King, for example, was influenced by Mahatma Gandhi, and Martin Luther King influenced others abroad. It's a shared ideas. Question is issues. Now this gets to be a little difficult because this was global, the issues tended to be local as well and informed by local events. To give one obvious example, in the communist bloc, conservative students differed obviously from the Western capitalist countries. A good example being the Prague Spring and the demand for socialism with a human face. In other words, to sort of overturn either the post-Stalinist regimes that were presided over by the Soviet Union. But there are two issues that I think are fairly that you can use to say cut across national boundaries. And the first was anti-colonialism and anti-imperialism that I just mentioned. Generally, most of the modern era, when people talked about revolutions, they talked about revolutions of the industrial working class, going back into the 19th century. But what's significant about student movements across the globe is that revolutions were now the carriers of revolution were generally seen as the third world countries. Black and brown people are third world countries who are the real revolutionary force. No longer working class, no longer European and American working class because they had become too comfortable and were too well situated to be a revolutionary force. I bring this up too because it is one of the reasons why Vietnam became a lightning rod globally, because the suspicion was that the United States was attempting to step in and sort of pick up the mantle of the fallen empires of Britain, France, the Netherlands, and so forth. So Vietnam is a big issue globally. And the chants were usually about American colonialism and American imperialism. So that was one big important one. The second was, I think, go by the general term anti-authoritarianism, where there was a widespread desire to challenge all kinds of things, whether it's sexual morality, whether it was proper gender roles, whether it was the sclerotic nature of the Stalinism and Soviet bloc, or the what students consider the conservatism of the liberal democracies of the West that were essentially cliquish and were not sort of generating more spontaneous democratic movements. Okay. It kind of carried over into demands for direct democracy against the older generation, of my parents' generation, for whom the post-war era had been an unprecedented boom economically, and whose argument was generally, we have it good, don't rock the boat. These are your roles. So those are basically the general issues. To just wrap this up, I'll bring it back to wealth. When I came here, the comment was, well, this is an isolated place, situated in the Finger Lakes and so forth. But we were not unaffected. It's like having the ground moving under your feet and knowing it is. You may not know the entire dimensions of it, but you know something is changing. And some of the events I can remember from, particularly the spring of my senior year, with the discussions of the Tet Offensive, which made it clear, if it wasn't clear to anybody by then, that the light was not at the end of the tunnel, and we were not winning the war in Vietnam, and that all the body counts presented by General Westmoreland were added up to the death of the entire Vietnamese population, and still the war was not being won. Second was a surprising showing of Senator Eugene McCarthy in the New Hampshire primary that I think probably contributed to Lyndon Johnson's decision a month and a half later not to seek re-election for president. I do recall a meeting with African American students in the Athletic House in the spring of 1968 from Cornell's Black Power movement, who had taken over Willow Straits, which was very important because, in many cases, black and white perspectives differed significantly, and it was very important, very important to hear that. There was obviously the assassination of Martin Luther King. And I can remember very well the breakfast the morning after when I went into the dining hall and a few African American students on this campus were all dressed in black, were all sitting at the table with expressions that sort of migrated between grief and rage. Because the urban areas of this country just exploded after the assassination. Then there were rumblings in Paris, there were rumblings of the Prague Spring. So I'll just wrap it up by saying, to bring this from the general to the specific and bring us back to our class and as well as in that debate right here. Okay.
Something a little different.
That must for being here.
Did you get your first?
No.
You must have your fish.
Well, I have to say, I was almost totally oblivious to any of the current events that happened in 1967 or 68. I was far more interested in getting to know my soon-to-be husband than biblical sin. Yes, I did worry about my thesis, and I worked on the Cardinal Yearbook. I was literary editor of that, but mostly when I realized this was a panel on 1968, I thought, but what I can talk about is what I have gotten out of this place. The 50 years, the 54 years of great, great friendships that started on 4th North. And have, it's been the most wonderful thing in my life, and I will say more about it later. But I will say that these friends we've been together through thick and thin. The usual joys, the wonders of marriage and children, and then horrific, horrifying things that have happened to some of us. Divorces from cheating husbands, one husband who committed suicide. I think 4 of us have had breast cancer. Me, twice. So unfair for the fittest, most healthy, health-oriented person you might know. But I keep a low profile. So this is what I got out of Wells College. One of them.
This is a surprise to all of us.
This is about the unfettered, unsupervised creativity I was allowed to explore. It was just astonishing to me. Wait a minute. Is it coming?
Oh, and
I'll just keep talking. Oh, right.
do we need to do more? Here we go.
Here's the announcement of me becoming the editor-in-chief of the Wells Courier. Notice the glasses, the horn-rimmed glasses. Well, I did not wear glasses in 1967, 68. I didn't wear them until about 1985. But I knew that that would be a good photo. And I am all about good photos. Standing correctly, looking as good as possible, about keeping a low profile. No, that's enough. I probably borrowed Judy Schwartz's glasses. Carol, this was. Wait, not that one. I have one more thing to say about the Courier.
Yes.
Wait, pay no attention to that. At the Courier, I came up with a motto that, I mean, I can't believe it, and it was probably on the paper for a number of years if they had brains that kept it. It was the Courier La Coriam Generatium Calcatim Stambulari per nulliquam fails. Okay, sure. Spanish, Latin, French, the Courier generation sometimes stumbles but never fails. And it's true. That's true of our class too, of everyone. So, I thank Wells for giving me unfettered, unsupervised creativity that I have polished for 50 years. Like the friendship, that's the case too. Now, spirituality, I'm sorry you saw that.
Leslie, I'm going to tell you, I have 3.5 minutes.
Okay, spirituality is one of the core systems of my beliefs, the core value. I am at least a 50-year member of a Quaker meeting. So this is how it started. Okay, that's enough of that. That was, yes, don't look at Tricia.
Don't look at Tricia.
Well, that's right. Look at me. Okay.
And Polly, isn't that Polly? And Vicky? Vicky's the second.
I have no idea why the nuns haven't appealed to me, but it has been a long time feature.
Where did you get it?
I have no idea. Now, here I am in the trunk of Sumac's car that we were picking up Janie Lang from the airport, and she opens the trunk, and there I am. Happy birthday, Sister Jane. Just say it. That's enough. But lest you think I'm just a craven, fun-poking person about spirituality. This is what has come to pass 50 years later. I am now the clerk of my Quaker meeting, the capo di tutti capi of the Quaker meeting. And I get to do, I mean, it's just a wonderful, wonderful job. So, and one of the reasons I love this job okay, the last thing I'll say is the friendship. That is the best treasure I got out of Wells College and why I'm here today. Thank you.
Thank you, great. Excellent.
Oh, that could stay up.
And make, but
But
the lights,
take the, please.
but the lights on.
So dark.
Okay, Leslie, thank you. Okay, and Bobby is going to, Bobby's story and Carol's story has something serious, but also have something in common. So Bobby is going to go next, and then Carol.
And the only thing I would like to add is that big sisters do worry.
March 3rd, 1968, Fort Gordon, Georgia. Hi, Bobby. Having a delightful time. Wish you were here. It would be nice to look at something besides soldiers. The first week of basic, as seen through these wise eyes, is nothing but propaganda. Beating drums and waving flags. Who asked me if I wanted to be drafted? March 2. March, march, march. Many miles and twice as many tired feet. Boy, I'll be glad when March is over and April is here. If things work out, I may be able to get my 2 weeks in time for your wedding. I really don't think so, but I'm running out of good things to think about. Right again, love, Buzz. March 21st, 1968. Hi, sister. It's about 80 degrees and sunny. It smells just like spring. You just want to lay in the grass and think of good times. But no, you've got to march or mop or wash pots or some damn thing. It really makes me miss home and being free. I can remember how I took my freedom for granted while I had it. Isn't freedom what I'm supposed to be here for in the first place? I feel just like a prisoner. They shave our heads and work us till we're about to drop. Then say, what's the good word? If we don't yell, more PT, we have to run an extra mile. It's very degrading to have to say, yes, Sergeant, to things like, you're a wormy little pimp, and you want to clean the latrine all week. Sorry I'm bitching at you, Bobby. I just have to bitch once in a while. I can't bitch to Mommy anymore because she worries too much, and I'm giving my girlfriend a rest, so you're the one to bitch to. Your loving brother, bitch. April 19th, 1968. Hi, Mom. Well, here I am in San Francisco. I don't feel too bad about going now because there are about 1 million guys going with me. When I was on an all-night detail, a whole mess of guys were just coming back. Boy, would I like to be in their boots. I hate to think of how long it will be before I'm home again. The summer will end, Halloween, Thanksgiving, birthday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter. Then the summer will begin and Buzzy will have a month's leave right in the middle and they can't take that away. Say hi to everyone. Love, Buzz. August 16th, 1968, Vietnam. Hi, Bobby. How's tricks? Methinks beloved sister may have forgotten honorable warrior type brother, as he seemed only on the surface to forget her. I suppose you haven't on second thought, but time goes so slowly here, it seems like a long time, even in elven lore, since I got a letter from you. P.S. I saw a spider today with a body as big as my fist. Needless to say, I do not like it here. Oh, brother. September 5th, 1968. Hi, Bobby. Guess what? Your little baby brother got himself a Purple Heart already. Didn't tell Mom or the girlfriend, so don't you, they just worry. This happened August 26th, so I wasn't even going to tell you. But sisters, don't worry and should be notified of medals. This is how it happened. I was sleeping, see? Don't laugh. And boom, boom, whap. I jumped up in bed and whap, ouch. We got mortared, and I caught a piece about the size of a pea in the back of my head. It hit my head bone right behind my ear and slipped down about 3/4 of an inch into my neck. Not serious, but it hurt and bled a lot. They thought it was worse because I had blood all over my back. So I was dusted off, medevaced, along with 12 other guys. Only one required hospitalization. He got hit in the back with many pieces of shrapnel, which punctured his kidneys and lungs. No big thing, I just want you to know who's over here making the world safe for democracy or the Great Society or whatever they cooked up for this war. It is a war now, I read it in the papers, no longer a police action. A fine how do you do? Love, brother. December 21st, 1968. Hi, Bobby. Not much is new around here except the war goes on and on. Yesterday, 3 guys were killed when their Jeep hit a mine. Today, 2 more are trapped inside a submerged tank, believed to be dying or dead, and every time a rescue party goes out, they get sniped at. It goes on and on. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, love, Buzz. January 2nd, 1969. Hi, Bobby. They've gone and changed me from an A-cab driver to a radio operator, and right now I'm on the midnight to 6 a.m. shift. Here I am writing a letter to my very own #1 sister, and I can't think of anything good to tell you. The war is still a raging. During Christmas, I was out in the jungle on a war mission where we found three Viet Cong base camps with still warm rice in the pot. We blew the first two and the third hadn't been evacuated. We started setting up demo charges when we sprung an ambush. We got small arms of machine gun fire and rocket-propelled grenades. 3 of them and none of us greased. My M16 is earning my respect. We found 2 500-pound bombs in the jungle, all wired to blow, and 1 rocket that came out unscathed to see the new year. T.S. Yesterday I won $80 playing cards, and to be perfectly honest, I think some of my friends are poor losers. Anyway, I'm $80 closer to my net ski. Love Buzz. April 27th, 1969. Hi, Bobby. We're a million miles out of the boonies now, set up in a big forest with the nearest trail miles away. All together with a couple of overnight stops, it's taken us 6 days busting a path through dense forest to get here. A few days ago, some grunts found a whole mess of NBA trucks and stuff, and we're here to find the route they used to get in and out of Cambodia. We're only a couple of miles from the Cambodian border. Words have paid in, and I don't like it one bit. Love, Bud. July 7th, 1969. Hi, Buddy. What's up? I'm getting short. I'm going to Black Horse tomorrow. Black Horse, then Bien Hoa, the Sky, Japan, Oakland, New York, home. In 2 weeks, I'll be home. Love, Brother. July 10th, 1969. Hi, folks. Back at Black Horse now, pulling guard duty and generally waiting. I still can't believe I'm almost home after so much and so long. I've been thinking about the day I come home and thinking at it from hundreds of different angles. And one thing sort of makes me wonder, how much have I changed? I wonder if you'll notice a big or small change in me. You probably think I'm a lunatic for a couple of weeks anyway. I'll probably set right to work and sandbag the house.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt things.
And if you have one late at night and find someone pulling guard from one of the cellar window holes, don't worry, I'll get over it. I'm going to feel naked walking around without a gun. But of course, these are minor hassles. I'm coming home, and the black cloud that has hung so ominously for so long will be dissipated by the golden rays of the sun. Wow, can't wait. Love you and miss you all. Buzz.
Yes. Thank you, Lord. Yeah, me too.
Now, Carol is going to talk also about experiences having to do with the Vietnam War from a different angle.
So I'll just, well, thank you for your technical assistance. How are we doing? No, we need green light. Green, good.
Last dollar.
I'm going to read you a sentence that I wrote earlier today. I think senior year at Wells gave me the tools to own my own intelligence. This came through choices I made that year and critical thinking that I was able to do because of the Wells curriculum. The story I want to tell you is partly about my husband and partly about me. But it boils down to the fact that in senior year I became a pacifist because I could not bear what I understood was happening in the war. And I understood it partly because of my future husband's experience. In senior year, as many of you will know, the deferments for graduate work were removed and they were no longer available to college graduates. The master plan had been to move on from undergraduate work to graduate work, but that was not to be. I met my husband at the end of sophomore year, and none of this was affecting us at that time. But Chris had a low number and expected to be sent to war. But he did not want to serve in the military and went through the harrowing process of becoming a conscientious objector. I found myself supporting him totally because I could not see that war solving the problems. And I did not want him to go to war. Luckily, his draft board supported his application in Iowa for conscientious objector status, and it was partly because he was done with 2 years of alternate service that he wanted to do, and they accepted that. And so we married and went to Louisville, Kentucky, where he did his alternate service, and I supported us. Although he did earn $2,000 a year. While at Wells, we made a plan, and we didn't know the outcome of the draft board's decisions. The plan was, if he did not get the status and decided to go to jail because of this, I would go to the town where he was in jail and visit him whenever I could. This was plan A. Well, plan A was to get the successful support of the draft board, but plan B was to survive this sentence and move on. But luckily, we did not have to follow that plan. We were able to get married, and our anti-war activism activated itself after we graduated and moved on into Kentucky, where we participated in our first war march, and then I have been marching ever since. The last march I went to was the Women's March in 2017 in Washington, and that was one of the most moving experiences I've ever had. The pacifism has never changed. I still believe that war is not a solution to the problems that are underlying it, and I could not have made the decisions that I made at Wells during my senior year unless I had had the courses that I had and the critical thinking training that I had and the writing that I did to be able to know what I was thinking and feeling. And this was a great gift because these things were extremely difficult. And I was not talking about them with my friends during my senior year. This is something that I was sort of struggling with internally. So, that is my story for senior year. And I thank you very much, and I thank your brother for his service.
Yes.
Because there were many ways to respond to the needs of the country at the time. Thank you very much.
Wendy's going to talk about a different piece of what was going on in 1968 from both a political both a personal and an historical perspective.
Well, in 1968, not only did you have global revolution and protest against authority, but you also had the women's movement that really, truly, I think, began in 1968 in a real way.
We can't create.
Oh, okay. I spent my entire high school career being grounded. So when it came time to look at colleges, my mother, who had never worked outside the home a day in her life, got married at the age of 18 and immediately started having babies, said that I needed to go to a convent in the North Woods. Unfortunately, we were not Catholic. So her next best thing was to find a nice little women's college where I could find myself a nice little job. And she said, teaching is a nice little job for a woman. And, you know, if I had known what I know now about down south, I would have said, well, bless your heart. But she decided that Wells was probably about as far away from civilization as she would like to place me. And I would, eventually graduate. She thought it was a finishing school, and I would eventually graduate with good manners, stay out of trouble. So, and this was like a permanent 4-year being rounded. And that was the end of it. I would find a rich husband who was an investment banker or a doctor or a lawyer, and I would have lots of babies. Well, that is a choice But there are other choices, and I think that's one thing that Wells gave me, is the fact that there are other choices. And that was made very clear to me when I went up to Crawford Dobrin's office one day for a voice lesson. And he said to me, well, Dr. Clugston and Dr. Taylor and I have been talking about you, and we think you should go to grad school. Well, the thought never occurred to me that I would be grad school material. So thank you very much. And I did go on to graduate school, and I not only had a job, but I had a career, and a very satisfying career. And I think if I hadn't had the experience at Wells where you were given the choice, where you were told that you could take risks, that you could enter a field that few women were in. I eventually ended up in TV production for about 25 years. In fact, one of my students has his own show on HBO, Pete Holmes. I also had Rachel Dratch in class. You can imagine how much fun that was. Debbie Downer. So it was an interesting group of students, but I had a career. I also had a family. I had a marriage. I can't say that I had cleaning the house, but I had a choice. I had a choice of what I could do with my life, and I think that's one thing that Wells gave to me that I don't think I would have had at very many places. So thank you again.
So I think I've made a bunch of notes, but I'd actually just like to open this up to the audience. Also, if the panelists would like to ask each other any questions, that's an option. Anybody in the audience want to share their experiences, their insights, or ask specific questions to the panel? This is your time. So, oh yes, and you were telling me something yesterday. So yeah, Carol.
Right, so, although
Yes.
we're very pretty isolated,
Don't say anything important yet.
Anyway, although we were pretty isolated, I can still remember a table where people would sit and discuss what was happening in the world. So we weren't totally isolated. Jan Dieter, Katie Dressel, and I were very anti-war. And one day, Jan told me that there was a bus going from Cornell to Indianapolis and this was April of 1968, to work on Eugene McCarthy's campaign.
So those people who may not know because they're not know about it.
He was a presidential candidate running an anti-war campaign. He won in New Hampshire, and now he was moving on to Indiana, and Bobby Kennedy was running, Gene was running, Hubert Humphrey was running at that point because LBJ had pulled out. And so our job was to go on this bus to Indianapolis, and there we had a real eye-opening experience learning about other parts of the country and the political beliefs and attitudes that were so different than what we had been living with and knowing in either our own personal lives or here on the campus. And unfortunately, there was a tragedy that took place during that week, and someone was killed in an accident, and both Katie and Jan returned. I stayed to finish off the week, but I came back totally changed. My attitude about politics, what's possible, how to change people's ideas. It was really eye-opening, and I think that, thank goodness my professors were kind enough to let me take the week. It was right before comms and graduation, and I think they thought I was ditzy anyway, but this was just one more thing that I was doing. But it was, it basically, other than the isolation, people would have thought we were isolated, but in addition to that, I had friends who were at Columbia burning the draft cards and working with Coffin on the anti-war. So even though I was here in Aurora, New York, I felt connected to a lot of this anti-war business. And then when I came back, I became sort of apolitical.
I know that there are a lot of people in our class and probably other people here who are passionately interested in social justice issues, and it's something I'm curious about. And again, if you have questions and comments, please come forward with them. But I'm interested in how people got to where they are in their interested in passion for social justice from where they started out. Like you were talking about. And I mean, I have my own path. I know other people who are close friends have their paths. And I'm just wondering about how you think about, especially if you didn't come from a background where that was something that was part of your family conversation or family heritage, how you got from there to where you are now. So that would be another way for people to have this conversation.
Why don't you talk about it?
Well, that's okay. I want to eventually, but let's have hear from some other people first. Kristen, did you have your hand up just now?
Oh,
You did?
so,
Mary?
I just wanted to ask Bobby Max,
Okay.
because certainly the effects of the Vietnam War are with us today for so many people who served. And I just was wondering, if it's not too personal, how was your brother, able to integrate back into, how do you think being in Vietnam affected him?
Actually,
Usually the microphone goes up here.
he spent 2 years after returning on a clam boat out in the middle of the Great South Bay by himself, clamming. His relationship with his girlfriend deteriorated. And he was even talking about this to me last year. He says he's not able to stay in one place. He's not able to make a commitment to anyone. He has a girlfriend in Florida and another girlfriend in New York. And he says, whenever he feels like he's been someplace too long, he feels like it's time for him to get up and leave again and move. And he thinks that was definitely an effect of his being in the war and, how it changed his perspective on living. So yeah, he still has effects from that. I mean, he did very well. He had a career in the Merchant Marine, and he just retired from that. And he has 2 great kids. But he's been divorced twice, and he's not able to attach to anything.
Thank you.
So some other hands? Anybody? Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention, a lot of you know that my mother went to Wells. She graduated in 1933. So she would have come here, at the 1929, the stock market crash, and she spent 4 lovely years here. Obviously, she was from a wealthy family that had gotten out of the stock market. I don't know what bank they were using, but anyway.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo. Wells was a place for white women, Gentile women of white women. And
White women of whiteness.
When I came here, we had one black student, in our class. There were some others. Oh, well, that's true. Ethiopia and Japan. There were some Jewish girls here. Yeah, there were some Jewish girls here. Yeah. How many?
Carol, me, Francie.
Lydia.
Jewish. You're not Jewish. What? I never knew Jenny was Jewish.
And I want to say,
What difference does it make?
I addressing Martin Luther King, and when he was killed, Susan Mills and I were at the inn.
Surprise.
And we walked out of the inn, and coming towards me was a sophomore classmate who was black and Puerto Rican. And she and I bonded because I was born in Cuba. And she looked at me, I went to her, and I went to hug her, and she backed off, and she said, you know, Tika, I don't think we can be friends anymore. And we never talked after that, never. And, you know, that's a really hurtful thing for me and for, I'm sure, of course, her. So I don't remember seeing the students in the dining room in black, dressed in black. But anyway, of course, I graduated and I've come back here over the years, and Wells has changed a lot. There are more Jewish students, there are more black students, there are guys. But the essence, what I want to say is that the essence of Wells has not changed. It's still a place where you come to make friends, that important friendship, to learn to think and learn to learn. And I certainly didn't keep doing what I studied here. I had like 3 different careers, and I feel enabled by Wells College in order to do that. So.
The day that King was assassinated has to do with Pam Bond, the only black American student in our class. The other black student was a woman from Ethiopia. And we were in Walport. I was in Walport. And I remember...
This is 1968?
Yes, yeah. Right after King's assassination. And I was certainly not as politically aware and I hope astute as I became just a couple of years later. Kind of conscious, I certainly knew what had happened. And she walked up to me and she said, "You white people have lost the best friend you've ever had." She left. And that really...
No, she was here at least through sophomore year.
This happened senior year.
Yeah, she was here.
But it doesn't
Never mind.
Doesn't matter. So again, you white people have lost the best friend you've ever had, and it really made, I had no response to that at the time, but it really, obviously, 50 years later, it has stayed with me, and it made me, I feel like right then, there was a way I started thinking that maybe I hadn't been thinking before. Not everybody has one moment like that, but that was one piece of it for me. Terry.
Yeah,
Mike.
I got it.
listen to Tika, I was just wondering, again, my stepson. Listen to Tika reminded me of a question that I've had a few times through these years, since we were all together. With all the upheaval and all the emotional things, losses and stuff that you all experienced while you were at Wells. What, if any, thoughts does anyone have about the counseling services they received here? The status of the counseling.
Terry, don't call there.
Okay.
Not that it's not a good question, but we're trying to focus this
On that year, okay.
on a different kind of experience rather than the personal, what you're talking about.
Right.
Which is great fodder for conversation. We can talk at dinner about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold the thought.
So we'll all talk to Terry about that at dinner. We get all our opinions about it, but trying to focus more on the historical setting and all the relationships with her.
Got it. I'm sorry I didn't read all the memos.
That's okay. Nobody gets to read them from the Chapman. Other people's responses, thoughts, musings about any of what we're talking about. That's Oh, sorry.
Pretty loud. One thing,
John,
It is.
that struck me was as we became seniors, it was the freshmen coming in that were bringing the drugs and this, a lot of the, and it was as we left, and doors had to be locked. Oh, they were allowed to liquor in the room too. But it was like this huge transition from the time you arrived, when you had to sign out to go down to Aurora, 2 blocks.
They're all on the golf course.
No, good, absolutely. But it was interesting, 'cause I felt it was coming in from the freshmen, and I think they made a big impact on the school.
Well, there was a huge transition. I was talking to some folks about this yesterday. When we were here, there was a woman from the class of 1965 who was thrown out for being a lesbian. And by the time, I can talk more about this later, and we're all going to have to and by the time, now we graduated, a year, within, I'd say 3 or 4 years later, there was a gay student association on campus. I mean, there was a huge change in the culture as a whole that was reflected in this supposedly isolated place. That's one example I happen to know about. And we're talking about another one, O'Teal.
Well, you do remember that,
O'Teal,
you do remember that the student government resigned.
Yes.
We were rewriting the constitution of the school. I think you were involved, Shelley.
Yeah, that was.
And we were opening up some of the rules that you're describing. We were going to allow halters on the golf course. But it had to do with whether you could have a managing room, whether you could have alcohol in the room. And the President Long intervened,
Right.
and the student government stood up at dinner and resigned.
But that's right.
So I mean, we were not isolated even in terms of what was happening within the school.
No, I remember that big dining hall meeting.
I also do feel that we were a little bit manipulated by Mr. Litzenberg
Right,
to resign.
right.
Yes.
And
No,
I'm sorry. You raised the possibility.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I just want to thank O'Teal for bringing up the changes in student government that happened that year. I was on rep council, I was also Shelley's roommate, I sort of heard a lot about this. And I wanted to give credit also, not only to Mr. Litzenberg, who did have a tendency to keep the students kind of focused on the moral and political implications of what was going on in the world. He was extremely serious about that. There were other faculty members too. My own beloved choir director, Prophet Coburn, was great at keeping you kind of focused on what was going on, outside of Aurora, and making sure we didn't forget the world. And there were others, faculty members that I did perhaps not know as well. But I want to thank you for bringing his name up, certainly.
Other comments, thoughts? I have the sense that there's a lot of.
Can I just ask you one question? What did your husband do for $2,000?
Your husband do for $2,000 a year?
Oh, hi, here. I didn't know you were here.
Obviously, what this panel needs is a tall, white guy to lend credibility. Idea of irony, let us make that perfectly clear. It was 2000 the first year, and I got some first raise to 3007 to work in a social service agency in rural Kentucky in the neighborhood in Altoona region of Kentucky. The population of which had mostly come into the city from eastern Kentucky as the coal mine industry mechanized and the miners lost their jobs. The process began at the end of World War II. As well as an African American community that was across one of the major thoroughfares and how we do things. And I oversaw all recreational activities for elementary school age boys. I then became, in addition to that, a probation officer for the Jefferson County Juvenile Court, overseeing several young men in the community. One of whom, it was incredible, within the space of 6 months, went from being angelic to being totally socially dysfunctional and stealing a car and cracking it up, and it was terrible. And learned the basic lesson that I think we've all learned, in addition to everything else that we've already discussed, which is very important, is our powers, our aspirations are great, but regrettably our powers are limited.
Other thoughts about coming to understanding about social justice and social issues? Yes, I see a hand back there. I can't
Does
see.
anybody else remember a Does anybody else remember going to cultural affairs meetings in the faculty parlors where we talked about issues of the day? There was a group, it was mostly 69 and 70. I was involved in that group, but we actually discussed and had a faculty advisor discussing cultural events that were going on in the world. It was called the Cultural Affairs Meeting or something. Was it faculty parlors? Did anybody else go to that?
No.
There's a picture down on our table. Yeah, there's a picture. Anyway, okay, nobody else remembers, but we did.
Well, we had an hour, we've gone a little bit over. I have the feeling that there are many more conversations. You can hear me better, Mike.
Yeah, they can't go out to
Oh, right.
I can hear you.
Sorry. Can you? We've gone just a little bit over our allotted hour. I have the feeling that there are many more conversations to be had over the weekend, which is why I warned my class about severe sleep deprivation. So let us continue the conversations elsewhere. And thank you all for being here.
And it's something that I don't think I was fully appreciative of it here, but came to read about it later, and some of it was extremely problematic because revolutionary leaders that were, admired were Chairman Mao, and what do you know now about Chairman Mao? The Great Leap Forward in the late 50s, 30 million Chinese dead, a disaster. The Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution, which was another nightmare. I had two Chinese colleagues in Akron, one of whom spent several years in solitary confinement. The other who basically was sent to the countryside to do slave labor and lost a decade or two of his life. He was well into his 40s as an assistant professor. But that's. Anyway,
maybe we could talk.
So, really quick, I know that we're going to record. I think you can, or I know that you're Skyping, so I just want to make sure, really quick, I'm pretty confident you can stay in this room if you want to keep your conversation going. Right now, at 3, what started was the tea with retired faculty. That's in faculty parlors. So I just, wait a second.
Library.
Thank you, Heather, Rock Caroline, for the great that song. So if you want to stay, go ahead. I just want to make sure that you know what's on the